You spent a lot of time crafting a wonderful character and then you just nailed that audition. So you're just gonna play the same character in the final product, right? Yeah, not so fast. So let's talk about it today on The Starting Actor. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Starting Actor. I am Vinnie Horst, and on this channel we talk about becoming an actor, starting out in the industry, and learning some practical tips and tricks, the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts of working in the industry. So, if that sounds like something that might be of interest to you, then consider subscribing and hit that bell, wherever it happens to be on the screen. All right? So, today we are going to talk about crafting a character after an audition. And this is based on a personal experience that I am actually going through right now. So let me set the table for you. A couple of weeks ago, I auditioned for a part as a father, and I'm speaking to my son on the phone. And I had developed a nice character. The circumstances were that I was dying, and this was my last phone call to my son. So I thought of some things that could correspond with how that might actually play out in the real world. And so I crafted my character, I did my audition, and I succeeded. I had a couple of callbacks, or one callback, but so 2 auditions in total, and it went really well. And so that was great. I was very happy to get the role. The director was very happy to cast me, and we're on our way. So fast forward then to our first table read. A table read is when we got together with the director and the actors, and we read through the script to understand it together, and so that we're on the same page. Okay. So during that table read, the director was giving me directions about how he wants me to play my character. And so just to give you a bit of perspective, the way that I played in the audition was that I was essentially a loving father who was in trouble, being chased by the police. And this was it. I think I can't make it anymore. And son, I miss you, I love you, and that type of thing, right? And as the director was discussing it, he began to tell me that you are a criminal. You are on the run from the police. You've been a lifelong criminal. You're a type A type personality. Okay, well, so in my mind, I'm comparing what I did in the audition to what he's asking me for, and it's so different. Well, how am I supposed to reconcile these two things? And my experience as an actor coming up, and I've done, I don't know, let's call it somewhere between a half dozen and a dozen films and projects and so on. In every case, until this moment, the director loved or wanted me to continue portraying the person that they saw in the audition. This was different. He didn't say, please, I want you to change it entirely. He just started describing a character. So I said, all right, stop. My director and I, after that first table read, we met again a couple of days later. And I was still struggling. I hadn't asked the question, why is there such a difference here? How do we reconcile these things? Finally, I just decided to ask the question. And I'm glad I did, because the answer that I got was, oh yeah, that audition that you gave, forget about all that, and we're going in a different direction now. That was a discovery for me. I had never encountered that before, and yeah, that was new. So lesson learned. Don't just assume that the character that you're playing in your audition will be the final character the way that you're doing it will be the final product. I think that my lesson so far is that unless the director tells you to do something different, then continue with what you're doing. I think that's a good approach. But don't be afraid to ask for clarification during that table read the first time, if it happens, right? Some projects you don't have a table read, you just kind of go from audition to production, in which case, naturally, since you haven't received any direction, just go with what you did. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask that question. So I then, naturally I thought, well, okay, if I succeeded in landing the part, then what was it in the audition that the casting director, actually on this project, the director and the casting director were the same person, which is At least it's been unusual for me. I haven't encountered that too often, but it was in this case. And so what was it that you saw in my performance that drew you to me, that you could see your final product in what I delivered? And the answers were that I was able to take direction. I think that was the most important thing. So I gave, during both auditions that I did were live. They were not self-tapes, they were live. One was on Zoom and one was actually in person. And in both cases, he asked me to do different things. And his judgment was that on my first take was very different from my second, was very different from my third, and that he liked that he could do that, because when we get on set, it's important that as an actor we can be flexible and move around and do things that the director wants you to do, right? So that's what he saw. And the other thing that he saw is he really could there was something that was not in the audition sides, the pieces of paper that you get, the script that you get for doing the audition. It wasn't described, the circumstance. I just kind of invented it in my mind, and I think I got lucky. I ended up portraying it that I was in a dark corner, and under attack, and just the police were after me. That type. I think the sides did say that there were police, but really nothing more than that. So I invented a bunch of things, and I think I got lucky that what I portrayed was very much in the vein of where the final production was going to go. So there it is. But I think the takeaway here, guys, is don't just assume that you're going to portray the same person in your audition as in the final product. So if you have any reason to doubt that, ask the question. Feel free. We're there to make art. We're there to work together and to make the best product possible. So if that means you have to change what you're doing, as far as I'm concerned, that's all good by me. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So that is my experience, and I hope that that was of use for you. If you like what you saw here today, then please consider subscribing. This is The Starting Actor. I am Vinnie Horst, and we will see you next time.